All right, who says all three, though, have to survive? All three premier U.S. automakers have to make it. With us now, Republican Senator Jim DeMint. He opposes the auto bailout. What do you know, Senator, about what the president is not liking in the wording of this rescue? Do you know?
Well, we just had it about 15 minutes, Neil, and there are already things that are of concern. They're setting up a car czar to decide how this money is loaned, not unlike the previous bailout where we gave all this money to the Secretary of Treasury and it's arbitrarily being thrown all over the place. Every American should be concerned because what we're talking about now is a complete departure from constitutional government and the rule of law. Don't get me wrong, I've been driving Fords for 20 years. I want these companies to survive, but I am convinced that the only way that they can survive if they're allowed to restructure in a way that they can't do under the current contracts that they have.
All right, BMW is very big in your state. I believe they have one of the sport utility vehicle plants in your state. But that from a country that doesn't necessarily support its auto industry, but certainly protects it. So the mayor I just had on said that's what makes it unfair, that U.S. manufacturers are at a competitive disadvantage from the get-go. What do you make of that?
Well, the mayor made a good point that the American auto companies are doing well all over the world except here, because all over the world they don't have to deal with the same union contracts and the gold-plated benefits, and even more importantly, Neil, the third-party negotiation that takes place every time they make a decision. They just can't make quick decisions that follow the market like a BMW can. BMW has to compete under the same rules here as Ford and GM, but they don't have to deal with the union because we're a right-to-work state. And what this bailout is all about is propping up an antiquated concept of unions in the United States where manufacturing companies simply cannot compete with the system that they have now in Detroit. I think the American auto companies could compete. I think their workers are some of the best in the world. They're moving in a great direction with their product quality, but the market knows that they do not yet have a business plan that will allow them to succeed.
But didn't this, I know you were against the financial rescue center, but didn't this start with the Republicans? They got the genie out of the bailout bottle, and what applied to white-collar workers or businesses, financial types, has now been extended to the blue-collar types. Fair is fair, the blue-collar types say.
Yeah,
and now the process is out of control.
Well, I think Republicans have made a lot of mistakes, and I think the panic that was created for that first bailout, it just sent a signal that all they have to do is just create this crisis, and Congress will respond. But that's not what the federal government is all about. We can't make an industry competitive by throwing money at it. Now,
well, do you believe that, Senator, talking of fear, that they have said that one of the big three will go out of business, or GM says 3 million jobs likely could be lost if this bailout doesn't come to pass? Is that sort of the financial spin on the same fear game?
Well, they shouldn't go out of business. They should make the right decision and go under the protective system that we have set up in law and restructure in a way that they can come out of this profitably and save as many jobs as possible. But this case they've been making that bankruptcy will keep people from buying the cars is ridiculous. Who's to say that right now with a bailout that people are going to have the confidence that the American auto companies are going to be here this same time next year? Right. Everyone knows this bailout is not going to make them successful. Okay. They need to make the decisions that will attract private capital, Neil, and until they do that, we know they don't have a business plan.
Senator, thank you very much. See how it goes.
Thank you, Neil.
Alrighty. Well, the president-elect saying that the days of pork in Congress are now over, but with his massive roads and bridges stimulus plan, my next guest says the days of pork are actually just beginning. David Bossie is with Citizens United. David, as you know, what the president-elect is proposing is a huge $500 billion stimulus plan at a minimum, a large part of which will be earmarked, I hate that word, but it's the only one I can come up with, for things like roads and bridges and that sort of thing. You don't like it. Why not?
Well, look, this is the exact wrong way to go. We should be giving the American people a tax cut. That's the greatest stimulus package we could be offering America, the American people, the American worker, and industries like the big three. If the American people got a tax cut, they could go buy a new car to help those auto industries. I personally agree with Senator DeMint. I think that that we need to cut earmarks. Senator Obama, President-elect Obama, is headed in the wrong direction. I think we're only going to be back here again 6 months, a year from now with the same problems.